We're breaking down not one, but 2 metal buildings with this pricing video.
So stick around because you don't want to miss out. Welcome back, Pack. It's Anadela and David here, and as he mentioned in the hook, we have not one, but 2 metal buildings that we're going to be breaking down in this video.
Yes, ma'am. And now, these aren't just any buildings. You know, my client is in the Houston area, so there's a little bit of extra stuff going on in this particular project. For one building is a garage / workshop for his mobile home and things like that. And then the other one is actually a pool cover and additional storage for his floaties and, you know, pump cover and stuff like that. Yeah.
Hide away, put away.
Yes, ma'am.
Guys, Texas weather does not play with us. We had some crazy, here in Fort Worth, we're located in Fort Worth. Our headquarters office is here. And we had some like crazy hail that we were seeing in like Dallas, but it was like super sunny here in Fort Worth, and we don't even know how it was going down in Houston. And that's exactly where this customer is at. He is down in the Houston by the coast area. With that, there's always additional winds. Exactly. So that's actually something we're going to be covering in this video. We're going to be going over the severe wind warranty package, which is something that is added on the quotes, and you guys typically get asked, like, what is that?
Yeah.
That's what we're going to be covering in this video. Also, how it affects the pricing and why we think it's worth it here at WolfSteel Buildings.
Yes, ma'am. So if you missed the full tour, check out the link down below. And don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss out on any more projects that we have coming up very soon.
Let's go. Okay, guys, so because we do have 2 buildings, we're going to be breaking it apart for you guys for building number 1 and then building number 2. So let's get rolling with building number 1, which is his garage and workshop.
Let's go. So this is where the magic happens, man. This building is the client's go-to spot for, you know, to park, like I said, his RV and, you know, his personal belongings and stuff like that. It's like a storage building. So this is going to be a 32'x45 by 14 foot to the eaves. The roof pitch is actually a little bit more custom. It's a 612 roof pitch. And the main reason for this was because of its HOA. So HOA has a lot to play with the roof pitch on this one.
Was it due to his home? Like,
yeah, it has to match the home. Yeah, it has to match the home. So, but the framing itself, it's actually a 12 gauge framing. And the reason why that was so important to him was because he lives near the coast. It's very humid, and the 12 gauge adds 20-year rust warranty. So it's very important to understand when you're investing your hard-earned money on this kind of projects. You want to make sure that it's done correctly. So 12 gauge is highly encouraged. 26 gauge, and the reason for that is because of, again, the high winds. It's going to help, you know, with the structural integrity of the building, and also helps with minimizing oil canning. We talk about that a lot in the last previous videos. And then the colors are the absolute favorite for everybody. The most common right now is the black and white, but he does have a little bit extra custom with that masonry work, which was an HOA requirement. But I think it looks pretty sick.
Yeah, I would agree. I think, black and white, very modern, very like the typical aesthetic right now of a lot of homes. Yeah. So it's like matching a lot. But I think that I personally like a little bit of color, like a little difference. I understand with the HOA requirements, but I think the brick made it look so different.
Oh, yeah.
Because like the brick isn't just like a black or like a white.
You compare it to all of our other black and white buildings, this one is more, it stands out a little bit more, and I think it looks pretty sick.
Yeah, I think it looks really nice. Sure. But as always, guys, HOAs are definitely something to always keep in mind. I actually just saw our planning, James, with our team over here in permitting and planning, go talk to you a little bit about requirements and things like that. HOAs are things that are never, it's definitely something that you always have to keep in mind. HOAs, will they require you to have masonry, in this case, masonry and the roof pitch? Things that sometimes you don't account for, but they are additional costs that get added on. For example, the roof pitch, it does have a really high roof pitch, so there's additional materials that go into that, additional labors, additional price, equipment. Things of that sort that maybe you didn't account for because you didn't think that it was going to be needed, and you didn't necessarily add to your original budget. Once you finish your quote, then you go back and you're with your HOA and you're like, oh man.
I've had that happen a few times with a couple clients of mine where we nailed everything down. We went back to their HOA and they required something specific that added to the cost. And you know, some people decide to go with it, some people decide to cancel. So it's it's always good to know what your HOA requires before you start looking into what you need.
Yeah, that way we also know. So it's like, hey, my HOA requires these colors. So then we have color samples literally right here. It's like, okay, what color samples do I send out to you? That way you kind of see what colors match best. In this case, also the brick. Which brick do you need? I think you guys, I don't know if you guys
The
go
style
back to,
of brick has a lot to do with the cost as well. Yep.
The brick, the pitch, and even the percentage of brick.
Yeah,
I think in this case it was like
sometimes
wainscot.
sometimes it's just the bottom, maybe front, maybe the three corners, maybe whatever is just facing the street.
Yeah.
There's just so many things that are
like
involved.
75% of your building needs to be this, or sometimes honestly you can't even allow it. So always keep in mind that that's something that you need to look into, or we recommend to look into before, that way you don't get a surprise, or keep in mind that if you're doing it after, that there could be a potential of a surprise here.
Which actually brings me segue into the second part of this particular garage is the custom stuff.
Yeah.
We did 2 custom frame outs for the doors, and that's another requirement from the HOA. He had to have matching doors matching to his house. So we didn't have those kinds of doors, so we did the custom frame outs for it. Regular standard steel walk-in doors, the 6 double pane windows, because he did add some vapor barrier as well to the project, so we wanted to make sure it's a little bit thermal controlled, and then 2 vents on each end so that there's a little bit of airflow. Such a high roof pitch.
You want to make sure, take advantage of it. Yeah. Actually, I was curious when we did the tour, when Advil did the tour, he mentions, hey, the customer is getting doors, and he was actually really curious. He's like, I wonder what kind of doors. They're probably gonna be really cool because the house looks really nice with the building, and he's like, I'm curious as to how that's gonna work, but that makes sense. It needs to match the doors. So lots of HOAs in this neighborhood, HOA requirements in this neighborhood, always things to keep in mind on here. But we did foundation and other add-ons. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, we also did the foundation for this particular project. We did a little bit of custom things, but we're gonna talk about just the foundation for the building portion alone. And that cost itself right there was about $18,217. And that includes the foundation slab, the footings, the vapor barriers, the cross beams, and even the control joints. The control joints are something that people don't really take account for. We want to make sure that we have those control joints.
Yeah, so these are very important, always really good. We try to always let the customers know, and we say it in multiple videos, how important it is to make sure your concrete matches your building. You don't want to do the building and then try to work backwards. No. So definitely there on there. And then he also has gutters.
The gutter
David.
system, yeah, for sure.
Gutters.
The gutter system, that one in particular was $1,890, and that's for the full 32'x45 building.
Yeah, so this is just the main building, guys. Once again, building number 1. So when we talk about everything that was on here, what is the total cost of the building and the concrete, everything for building number 1?
Building number 1, the garage was $92,549.66. That includes the materials, the labor, the taxes, equipment, and the wind package. That's included
that was
as
added
well.
on, correct, for being in that area. So again, once again, guys, we always mention this. We always say pricing could vary by location. This is exactly what we mean, because maybe this building doesn't need the wind warranty package here in Fort Worth as it does in Houston.
And then the HOAs also, because you might not have HOA, so that price might change as well.
It might not need the 612 pitch, things like that. So David, you mentioned, again, we just said a wind warranty package. What does the building have changed?
So standard spacings on a building is about either between 5 to 10 feet. With the severe wind package, the spacing actually goes down maybe 2 to 3 feet, less. It depends on the span of the building. So if your span is 5 foot spacings, it goes down to maybe 4. The closer you get to the coast, maybe 3 foot spacings. Also diagonal bracing. On the corners, there's bracing, diagonal bracing, right? So that's additional framing for the building as well. Screw patterns, that's something that I didn't even know. Whenever I saw it, it made a lot of sense. The screw panels is another big one as well, because of those high winds, it can rip off those panels if it's not done correctly. And then, of course, the engineer plans, which is the most important. With the engineer plans, will actually dictate the wind load that it actually has. So the closer you get to the coast, the higher the wind load. Further, less, but still needs the engineer plans.
Yeah, correct. So I think in this building specifically, it's set at 8. Typical for wide spans. For anything 30 and below, 5 foot on
5
centers.
foot, yep.
Anything above 31, going above 30 is now at that 10-foot spacing, and I think this one has it at 8. And again, we show it in the tour. It should be popping up here, that diagonal bracing.
Yep.
But I think the biggest one is the engineer plan. So you can say a building is engineered, but if you don't go back and verify and do the inspections, how do you know if it was built to the way that the engineer did the code? So always really important. I think we try to emphasize that a lot here. And then, I mean, those winds down in the south is up to 165, maybe even more. So always really important that we're engineering to kind of what those local codes require, because you don't want to be caught in a bad windstorm or no tornadoes down there. We have tornadoes.
We have tornadoes here.
Yeah, they have
There's
hurricanes.
So good old Texas.
Good old Texas. And then we have sandstorms out in the west. So we don't service too far out in the west like that, but we definitely get hit with them randomly here in Fort Worth. So always try to make sure that we are upfront with you guys and make sure that you're secure in case something like that happens.
Investing your hard-earned money, you want to make sure it's done correctly.
Yeah. Building number 2, guys. I think this one, I like both. I think the first one is cool, but I think it's the first time that we've built over a pool.
The uniqueness of it, whenever he told me about it, I was like, I don't even know how to give you a quote, but we figured it out. Yeah, no, it's definitely something unique for sure.
Yeah, so we definitely built over this. This is different. This is the pool cover in the front area, and then in the back he has like a storage. So it's kind of like a 3-part building if we really think about it.
Yeah. The total length of the building is 62 feet long, but it's 22 feet wide, and then 10 feet tall. This particular project, the design is like I said, 22 feet wide, but 40 feet is enclosed, right? But that 40 feet, it actually has a partition wall right in the middle. The reason why is that on the part that's closer to the pool has like the floaties and things like that, all the toys, for his grandkids is what he was telling me. The grandkids is the biggest part of this project.
Very, very important.
And then the back part was to cover all the mechanical stuff for the pool. So for his tools and things like that. So 40 feet is enclosed, and then the rest of the project, the 22 feet in the front, was actually the pool cover. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I think we see that in the tour. Adbo does mention, like the backside, and I think he has we have a frame out back there. And so there's a couple things that we have. There's the frame out in the back, which I think they're probably going to get a door back there.
Yes,
and
it has to match.
It has to match once again. So like they did mention like floaties, things like that. And honestly, that's actually really important for kids. I hadn't thought about that, but in his case, grandchildren, but if you have kids or just anyone, you don't want them around some of those things that's like either messing with it or even just hazards. So they have that in the front, but that front, they have another frame out in the front, and they already had that sliding door. And then I'm not sure if they're putting maybe something around the building to fully enclose it.
So I think it's going to be a net. Yeah, it's going to be a net. So we actually, and you're talking about frame outs, the actual front portion of the pool cover has also a frame out so that they can walk in and out comfortably without having one of those posts every 5 feet. Yeah. So that's definitely a plus. But they are going to put a net as well to keep the mosquitoes out and stuff like that.
That would make sense, because I was wondering, I was like, okay, they have that there, and they had the frame out, but it's open. It's just kind of adjusting the framing. Could be getting things in and out, and easily accessible. But that's something that they did have on there. And then they also did have one steel door, just that 36 by 84 steel door in the back.
Yes, ma'am.
And so we also did the foundation, David, and then we also did gutter. So still matched, similar to the main building. Can you go over a little bit about what the numbers are looking like for foundation here and gutters?
Keep in mind, the foundation was a little bit special for this one because we only did it for the back part, the 40-foot enclosed section, because the pool cover was already there.
So and the pool area around it already
exactly.
had that.
So the foundation for the 22 by 40 was for the foundation, the footings, the vapor barrier, and the control joints. And we also did gutters for this project, like you mentioned. How you do one thing is how you do everything. And the gutters for this particular project was $2,423. The total cost for the second building, building number 2.
Everything again that we have been mentioning, and I think also one of the biggest factors here is that partition wall.
Yes.
So technically, it's 3 end walls.
3 end walls, and then the gable
and then the gable in the front. Yeah, because he does have that gable in the front. So definitely makes a difference. Again, different things that go ahead and change on here. But David, total cost for building 1 and building 2, combining everything on here. What are we looking at?
The total cost for this full project was that's, again, everything that we mentioned in this building, fully installed, the wind upgrade, the delivery, taxes, everything.
Okay. I think one of the biggest things here is sometimes customers are debating between red iron and tubular. And I think that's one of the biggest things, especially because we do offer both red iron and tubular. We get asked very often, what is the product line if I were to switch from tubular to red iron? What are we looking at pricing there?
So if for building number 1, if that's going to be a red iron, you'd be looking at $110,572.39. Now for the building number 2 would be $91,297.16.
Okay, so there is a pretty big jump that I hear here. I think the only difference that we have, and this should be popping up on the screen right now, biggest thing that you should be seeing is everything is pretty similar, exactly the same. Biggest thing is the swap and the radiant barrier. So we did mention the main building does have the radiant barrier only on the roof. We do not offer a radiant barrier installation for a red iron product line. So that one we did switch it over to the fiberglass. But why do we see a big jump in the pricing here?
A few things. So the red iron, they're more custom engineered plans. There's a lot more engineering that goes involved into red irons. Size of I-beams, layout of purlins, just so many details that goes into it. Bolt ups also come with a unique set of engineered plans. Again, more detailed. And then also the design is extremely durable.
Also, I think another thing that makes a big difference is due to the area of where it's at, you don't have like the standard, which is what people mostly think about in the industry when they think of red iron, the weld ups. And here it is a bolt up pricing due to the wind warranties and things like that need to be in this area. We don't offer the weld ups, just the bolt up, which is what's priced out here. So those are a big, I would say if you had to look at like pricing with weld ups and bolt ups, there is a very big difference. So that's that's things that we're seeing here.
Huge difference.
And so I think that has a big part here. But guys, we have actually reached the end of the video. There's a lot of things that went into this building, into this video. Hopefully you guys are seeing all the B-rolls throughout the whole entire video. We popped up a lot of things onto the screen, the 612 roof pitch, brick wainscoting, the fact that there's 2, not just 1 building. So lots and lots of things, but biggest thing to get from this video is where your building is at makes a big difference in your pricing. And I think sometimes, and you'll hear it with us, but I think you also hear it across the industry. So whether you're shopping with WolfSteel or you're shopping with someone else, we always say pricing may vary by location. And sometimes it's not just to be like, oh, because if you're local, it's not necessarily that. It's due to the fact that certain areas, most buildings get quoted out according to your local codes. So if your code requires you to have, if you're up north, maybe snow loads. Down here, we deal with wind loads, so that's where the severe wind warranty package is at. And then maybe we don't have that here in Fort Worth. So again, your pricing varies by that. So where you're at, your weather locations, things of that sort, local building codes, and then also just HOAs. HOAs are a big thing.
Yeah, definitely. So that's why, you want to make sure you go with the right team. The right team is going to make sure that you're taken care of from start to finish and that your building is going to be up to code. Building, make sure it handles the elements, and then as a design, more importantly, is to your needs, and of course, we want to be within your budget as well. So, there's a lot of back and forth, a lot of planning, but before we even take your money, we're gonna make sure that it's solid, it's exactly what you want.
Correct. And always make sure, guys, you can always call up here, ask us questions, things of that sort, shoot us a message. We also do have our chat on our website, so make sure you guys check that out. Keep in mind, you can always reach out to anyone here at WolfSteel, but also to David.
Especially me.
David and the Dream Team. His information should be popping up on here whenever you're ready.
Extension 010.
And of course, guys, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And don't miss out on anything that we have coming up. Any questions that you guys would like answers to, drop them in the comments down below so we can get you guys taken care of. And we'll see you guys in the next one.